Well, happy Friday to everybody. Hope you are doing well and ready for the weekend. Closing in on Thanksgiving. We're not that far away. Time can has a way of creeping up on you when you're not careful. All right, speaking of time, it is time to get going. May 31st, final game of the month of May in this replay. Of course, we have the National League game to do, but that's a different story. But for the American League, this is the final game of the month of May. It's the Texas Rangers against the Kansas City Royals from Kansas City. And the starting pitchers for today's game, it's Ed Correa for the Rangers, right-hander, and left-hander Danny Jackson of the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City comes in the game 24-21. Texas comes in 19-26. We are at Royal Stadium. It's a symmetrical ballpark. Singles are 1-11 for both, left and right. Home runs not so friendly, 1-3 left and right. So let's look at Danny Jackson before we start anywhere else, because he's going to get the first crack at it on the mound. In his real season, he was 9-18 with a 4.02 earned run average. And I need to bring up the game. I thought I had the Strat-O-Matic computer open, but I did not. Hello, Ben. Good. Always like PTO. You never can, never can have. I could never have enough PTO when I was working. I can tell you that. I really enjoy those days when I could take a PTO day. The only difference now is I'm on permanent PTO, which is a nice feeling. All right. Hello, Action. Good to see you. Hello, Blaine. Hello, John. Good morning to all of you. Dr. D, if I missed you. Yes, every day is now PTO, but I'm not getting, it's just TO because I'm not getting paid for it, but it is TO. But fortunately, I have enough money saved over the 40 years of being frugal to get me by, or get us by, I should say. The wife's still working, which is good. And it's not like I left a big corporate job or anything like that. I was laid off in 2021, actually at the end of 2020, right after COVID. Was laid off and replaced by offshore workers in India who could do the job cheaper. And so for the last, couple of years after that, I've just been working basically almost a minimum wage type job. So it's not like I walked away from a lot of money, put it that way. So if I was still working if I was still had my old job, I'd probably still be working, but it's just, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze anymore. So, all right, enough of that. Let's get this game going here. We'll see what Danny Jackson's done on the replay. We see he's 9-18 with a 4.02 real world. On the replay, he's 4-2 with a 4.04. So his ERA is just about exact at 4.04 to 4.02. But he's obviously getting run support. He's 4 wins and 2 losses. 65 innings, 62 hits, 35 walks, and 55 strikeouts. Look at some of the numbers on Jackson as well. He is a -2 hole combination with Larry Owen, the catcher. He's -1. Larry Owen's -1 for a -2. His wild pitch rating's a 4. His balk rating's a 0. And if we look at Ed Correa, this is where we're going to run into problems if you're Texas. Slot has a pass ball rating of 16, and Correa has a wild pitch rating of 20. So, if you roll the havoc and you get the wild pitch, it's an automatic wild pitch. If you roll the 2 where it's either balk or pass ball, well, it's got a 0 balk, but if it goes to pass ball, it's almost guaranteed to happen as well. So what are you going to do? There you see the starting lineup is pretty standard. Texas is putting in some of their righties against the lefty Jackson. You got Kunkel in there instead of Jerry Brown. You got Brower in there instead of McDowell. But pretty much everything else is kind of standard, although Scott Fletcher, not usually a leadoff guy. He's usually hitting second in the lineup usually. Kansas City, pretty standard with what they've got. Hello, Jeff. Good to see you. To you, happy Friday, and of course, happy Good Coffee Day. Well, every day for me is Good Coffee Day. And hopefully we have no technical issues today like we've had here the last couple days. Hopefully the gremlins are gone. Got our dice, of course, and got the game on the computer. All right, so Scott Fletcher is going to lead things off. He's hitting 305 on the replay, a homer and 30 driven in. He hit 287 real world. Left-hander Jackson against the right-hander Fletcher are underway from Kansas City. 6-9, and that's going to be trouble for Jackson. 1 to 11 is a double, 12 to 20 is a single. That's a double, leadoff double for Scott Fletcher. And Jeffrey, I've got the baby wipes handy just in case we get a clean as a baby's ass home run. I'm ready for it. Here is Ruben Sierra. He usually hits, third, fourth, or fifth in the lineup, but he's hitting second today. Here is Sierra. He's hitting 284 on the replay. 15 home runs, 36 driven in. He hit 263 real world. First havoc roll, and that's a 2. Checking ball for pass ball. We're looking at a pass ball rating of 0, which is only a 4. And no pass ball, so Sierra will swing it. 6-5, and that's a ground ball second base C. That'll get the runner over, so that's kind of like baseball 101. If you're playing for one run, you got to hit the ball to the right side when there's a run on second and nobody out, and that gets the runner to third. Now that forces the defense to decide, do I play the infield in or do I lay back and try to avoid a big inning? They're going to play the infield in. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. They're going to play the infield in. So here's Pete Incavilla, but they're hoping to get a strikeout out of it in Incavilla because he does strike out a lot. So it's strange they would have him batting third. That's some good coffee, Jeff. So Incavilla on the replay hitting 251, 8 homers, 27 driven in, hitting 271 real season. So the infield is in. They do not want to give up that cheap run in the first inning. So 110, and struck him out. That's what Danny Jackson was hoping for. They could count on Incavilla for that strikeout. Now the infield can go back to normal for designated hitter Larry Parrish. Parrish on the replay hitting 220, kind of struggling a bit. 8 homers, 25 driven in. He had 268 real world. And the pitch to Parrish. It's a 4-7, and that is a walk. So Danny Jackson will follow up his first strikeout with his first walk. And that puts runners on the corners with 2 outs for Pete O'Brien. Maybe he wanted the lefty-on-lefty matchup better. Maybe he liked that better. O'Brien hitting 325 on the replay. 9 homers, 27 driven in at 286 real world. So O'Brien facing Jackson, lefty-on-lefty. 6-9, and that's trouble for Danny Jackson. 1 to 14 is a double. That's a 15. It's a single, 2 stars. And the Rangers take a 1-0 lead on the single by Pete O'Brien. RBI single. Parrish will go to third. And we got a 1-0 ball game, Texas. Here comes the catcher, Don Slaught. Slaught hitting 259 on the replay. 6 homers, 18 driven in. He at 224 real world. O'Brien not being held at first. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Danny Jackson, which is a 4. No wild pitch. It is blocked by Owen. So Slaught steps back in. 2-5, and that's going to be a ground ball short, and that will end the inning. But the Rangers strike first. RBI single from Pete O'Brien. Knocking in Fletcher, who led off the game with a double. And at the end of half an inning to play, it is Kansas City trailing Texas 1-0. And now Ed Correa out on the mound. Correa had a rough season, 3-5 with a 759 earned run average real world. So far, he is 3-3 with an ERA of 5.77, so he's pitching better than he did in real world. 48 innings pitched, 44 hits, 38 walks is a concern. 38 walks in 48 innings is not good at all, and 35 strikeouts. Also, he's a +5 hold. You can see he's a +7 there. So it didn't really matter about Slaught. He's a +7, makes him +5. And you got fast guys like Willie Wilson and Bo Jackson who would love to take advantage of that insufficient pitcher-catcher hold quotient. So here's Willie Wilson. He's hitting 307 on the replay. 2 homers, 12 driven in. He at 279 real world. That's a 4-8 switch hitter. 1 to 5 is a double. Anything else he flies to right. That's an 8. So Correa catches a break as Willie Wilson will fly to right field. He just missed out on that double. Here is Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. Seitzer on the replay, hitting 263. 8 homers, 28 driven in. Hit 323 real world. 3-8, and that's a ground ball to short. Fletcher is there, 2 down. Hey, Justin, good to see you. I don't disagree with him winning the Cy Young. He was the best pitcher. He just pitched on a lousy team. If he was on the Dodgers or the Phillies, he would have won 15 to 20 games. Here's Danny Tartabull, and Jacob deGrom did the same thing when I think he actually had a losing record, but his ERA was so good he won the Cy Young. Here's Danny Tartabull. Tartabull on the replay hitting 304, 11 homers, 35 driven in. He hit 309 real world. 5-5, and that's a ground ball. Second base X. We are looking at Kunkel, 3E41. 3E41 for Kunkel. First X check. 3 and a 20. It paid off. The double die worked this time. And that's a 9, and he's an E41. That's where the problem's going to come in. E41, and this is a 9, but he escapes it. E41 is just 11, 13, 17, and 18. So Kunkel will make the play, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ed Correa. So Correa survives the first inning with no damage and maintains a 1-0 lead. See if his teammates can score more runs. Steve Buechele, solid veteran third baseman, will lead things off. Well, in 87, he wasn't that much of a veteran, but I remember him later in his career. Buechele hitting 241 on the replay, 5 homers, 23 driven in. He hit 237 real world. It's 2-8, and that's a 1-19 double. So a leadoff double for Steve Buechele. Danny Jackson not exactly fooling him right now. And here's Jeff Kunkel. He only had 32 at-bats. Real world hit 19. In the replays, he got 30 at-bats, but he's hitting 300. No homers, 4 driven in. But obviously very small sample size. 2-4, and that's a fly ball to right field. And that's 1 away. 1 down, and that brings up Bob Brower, the center fielder. Brower, let's see here, hitting 300 in 90 at-bats. 2 homers, 15 driven in. He hit 261 real world. 2-5, and that is a ground ball to short. So Buechele will stay stuck at second base as they're unable to move him up. 2 down now for Scott Fletcher, who led off the game with a double. He's up in a clutch situation. And in the clutch, he loses a hit on a 2-9. Everywhere else, he is completely neutral. Get a 4-4, and that's a catcher X. We're looking at Larry Owen. He's a 3E5. And the double die is a 2. That's not going to help the cause for Larry Owen. So a 3 and a 2 is a W/G. That's a 6. I don't think there's any problem with that. E5 and a 6. No, there's not. W/G is going to be a wild pitch. So it will be a wild pitch on Danny Jackson, and that will move Buechele over to third base now with 2 outs. And Fletcher back up at the plate. (6-2), and it's a ground ball right back to Jackson to end the inning. So Danny Jackson pitches around that leadoff double. And the Rangers unable to get the run home. Could come back to get them later on. We'll see. Go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 favor of the Rangers. Correa back out. We'll be facing Bosley, White, and Jackson. Thad Bosley, designated hitter. Bosley hit 279 on the real season with 1 homer and 16 driven in. He's only hitting 184 on the replay so far. 5-11, and that's going to be a ground ball pitcher X right back to Correa. He's an E38. Strat Computer tells me he's a 3 range, so it's a 3E38. 3E38. 3 and a 6 for a pitcher. Should be okay. 3 and 6 is a G3. That is a total of 14, and he is an E38. E38, and look at this. Do you believe this? Errors on E38s are 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 18. It jumps right over 14, and that's where we're at. So Correa will make the play. Talk about getting by and avoiding trouble. That's amazing how that number just fit right in between there. All right, here's Frank White, second baseman, hitting 230 on the replay, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He hit 245 real world. 411, and that's a ground ball pitcher actually going right back to Correa again. He gets to make a second chance of it. 3 E38. 3 to 15 is good. That's a 3. I think that's going to be a trouble, though. I don't think he can get around this one. So E38, well, he did. How do you like that? The 3, there is no error there. E36, there's an error on a 3, but not an E38. So Correa dodges it again. For being such a bad fielder, he's made 2 plays in a row. 2 down for Bo Knows. Bo Jackson hitting 238 on the replay. 6 homers, 16 driven in. He at 235 real world. 4-6, and that's a 1-7 single. And that's a 5, so Bo Jackson's going to reach. And you know, with that +5 sitting over here, Bo Jackson's going to be looking for the lead. So to obtain the lead, needs a 6 or a 7. Does not get the lead, but it still might not deter him. I don't know. It would be a 12. -4 for being held being an 8, and the +5 would be a 13. You're still talking about a 1-13 chance. They're going to send him on a 1-13. And he's in there exactly. Stolen base, Bo Jackson. You won't see that kind of strategy on that other channel. So Bo Jackson reaches second base now with 2 outs for bye-bye Balboni in a clutch situation. Or clutch situation, I should say. Let's see. Balboni in the clutch is actually completely neutral. He has no reference, no changes. That's a 1 for Correa, which is an automatic wild pitch because his wild pitch rating is a 20. So it'll be an automatic wild pitch. And that'll put Bo Jackson to third base now with 2 outs. Balboni on the replay is hitting 156, 8 homers, 17 driven in. He at 207 real world. So Correa to Balboni. That's a 3-10, and Balboni has a ballpark blast. It's only 1-3, though, so it's a deep fly to left. And that's going to end the inning. I thought about taking Correa's wild pitch 20 and making it like a 19, saying you at least had to roll a 20. Or you could, if you rolled a 20, you could avoid it or something like that. But I just went ahead and I guess he has so many wild pitches on his, I didn't look up his stats, but he must have so many wild pitches that it's just impossible to get around it. All right, so here's Ruben Sierra. Rounded out to second his first time up. It's a 1-5 against the lefty. He's going to pop it up to third, and Seitzer is there, 1 away. One down. And that'll send up Pete Incaviglia. He struck out his first chance. 4-6, and that's a walk. Second walk issued by Danny Jackson. Incaviglia not much of a threat to run, so he will not be held. Actually, no, he will. I take it back. He has an asterisk there. They're going to have to hold him on. Does he try to go anywhere? It's a -2. It'd be a 1-13. Why not? 1-13 chance if he can get the lead. He needs a 6 to obtain the lead. Does not get the lead, so it doesn't matter. Here's Larry Parrish. 4-8 against the right-hander is a strikeout for Danny Jackson. That's his second. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts now for Jackson. So 2 down for Pete O'Brien, who had the RBI single in the first inning for the lone run of the ball game. That's a 1. Danny Jackson again is a 4 on his wild pitch. No wild pitch. Owen blocks it again. 4-8, and that's a strikeout for Danny Jackson, his third, and that's going to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the third, still 1-0 favor of Texas. Not used to seeing Texas pitching go this far without giving up a run because they've been terrible pitching all year. Here's Angel Salazar. Salazar will get his first at bat. He's hitting 246 on the replay, 2 homers, 11 driven in. He at 205 real world. It's a 2-8, and that's going to be a single 1-12, but that's an 18. So he will line it to short, and there's another one of our infamous lineouts that we mentioned the other day. I think it was yesterday. Here's Larry Owen, catcher. Owen's hitting 122 on the replay and 41 at bats, a homer and 2 driven in. He hit 189 real world. 4-6, and that's going to be a 1-7 single, but that's a 15, and yet another line out. Line out to short once again. 2 down for Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson flew out to right field his first time. 6-6, and he's going to strike out this time. Correa got him. First strikeout for Correa, and Ed Correa has pitched 3 shutout innings. And the Rangers lead at 1-0 after 3. Jackson back out, and he'll be facing Slot, Bouchel, and Kunkel here in the top of the fourth of a 1-0 ball game. Time to drink some more coffee while it's still warm. Oh, cool. Action. 5 lineouts per game. We'll see how many lineouts we get here so far. So far, we've had 2. All right, 4-7 for Jackson is a walk. Third walk issued by Jackson. Those are going to get him in trouble if he keeps doing it. Here's Bouchel. Slot not being held, obviously. Bouchel doubled his first time up. 1-6, and this time he'll ground it to short, and that's going to be a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play. So Giovanni's Tailor Shop, or maybe get Taylor Swift to sponsor the tailor-made double play of the game. I don't know. Have to ask Travis Kelce's permission, I guess. So that's a tailor-made double play. And that'll bring up Jeff Kunkel. 110 for Kunkel, and that's a ballpark blast. It's only a 1-3, though, so Kunkel will fly to left field to end the inning. So the double play kind of put the kibosh on anything else Texas was thinking about. We go to the bottom of the fourth, still 1-0. Favor of the Rangers. Correa back out will face Seitzer, Tartable, and Bosley. 2, 3, and 4 hitters. 2-6, and that's going to be a 1-15 single for Seitzer, and he gets the leadoff single. And Seitzer will be looking to get the lead, needs a 5 or a 6 to obtain the lead. Does not get it, he will hold. Here's Danny Tartable. 5-5 is going to be a ground ball, second base X. Now they were holding him on, Seitzer on, so the second baseman, Kunkel, will lose one on his range. He now turns to a 4E41 because they were holding, that's the holding the runner effect. 4E41, 4 and a 16, though. He might catch a break. Might be a G1 anyway. 4 and a 16. Nope, it's a G2. So holding him on costs him a chance at a double play. He could get the force, though. That's an 11, and he is an E41. But there's an 11 right here under E41. So Kunkel, trying to turn the double play quickly, boots it and doesn't get anybody. So it's going to be an E4 on Kunkel. First and second, nobody out. And now is where Correa might be getting into trouble, possibly. So Thad Bosley is up. This would be a perfect time to bunt, except for the fact he's a D bunter. So kind of takes the strategy away a little bit. And you just have to hope he doesn't get into a double play for Kansas City. 4-4, but he might. Ground ball third base X. We're looking at Bouchel. He's a 2E15. This could be around the horn double play. 2 and a 4, though. 2 and a 4. He's going to catch a break, I think. 2 and a 4 is only going to be the only play they have is to first base with G3. That's a 10. I don't believe there's any errors on 10s for Bouchel as an E15. There are not. But G3 was his only play, so it's only play to first base. So it acts like he actually acted like a sacrifice bunt. So it worked out pretty well for Kansas City compared to the double play that they could have had turned against them. D20 helped them out a little bit there. And now Frank White is up with 1 out and runners at second and third. The infield's going to come in for Texas. They're bringing the infield in. That's a 6-5, and that's a strikeout for Correa. A huge strikeout, his second of the game, but it came at a really perfect time for Correa because now the infield can go back to normal as Bo Jackson is your batter. Now you've got a choice to make. First base is open. They could walk Bo Jackson and pitch to Balboni. Or we could just pitch to Bo Jackson. Man, that's a tough call. Both of them are kind of all or nothing hitters. I just can't walk a guy that hits 235. Sorry. So we're going to pitch to him. They're going to pitch to him. 1-4. And that is a strikeout. So pitching to him was the right call, and Correa strikes him out. Back-to-back strikeouts by Correa, and he's pitched 4 shutout innings, even working around a Kunkel error. So we go to the 5th. Need some more coffee, I guess. Wet my whistle. So Danny Jackson back out. He'll be facing Brower, Fletcher, and Sierra here in the top of the 5th of a surprising 1-0 game. I was obviously expecting many more runs than this. But there's still at least 5 innings to go. So anything can happen with these dice. 3-10. And that's a ballpark blast. But again, only 1-3. So Royal Stadium kind of taking the starch out of these potential home run balls. 1 away for Scott Fletcher. Fletcher has doubled, scored the only run of the game. 4-2 for Fletcher for Jackson against the right-handed Fletcher is a fly ball to right field X. So we are looking at Tartable. He's a 4E7. 4E7, 4 and a 6. This is going to drop for a base hit. That's the danger of having a 4 in the outfield. 4 and a 6 is going to be a single. That's a 9. He is an E7, so I don't think it's not a problem, but it will be a base hit. As Tartable unable to get to it, showing poor range. Fletcher is aboard. He will not go anywhere. They will hold him, but he won't go anywhere. And here is Ruben Sierra. 3-9 for Sierra against the lefty is a ballpark blast again, but again, only a 1-3. So Danny Jackson catching some breaks here by pitching at home in pitcher-friendly Royal Stadium. Several home runs have went to meet their end on the warning track in this game. Here's Incaviglia. 4-9, and that's going to be a walk. So Incaviglia has walked twice and struck out once, so he has not swung the bat yet. 4th walk issued by Jackson. That's going to bring up a clutch situation for Larry Parrish, rather than designated hitter. Parrish in the clutch will gain hits on 311 and 310 and on 210 and 2-4. And on 1-2. So he's got 5 extra places. Really good clutch hitter. He's got 5 extra hits coming his way if he finds those results. 1-4. Nope, it's going to be a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. So nothing doing for the Rangers. They get 2 on, but can't make anything else happen. As Parrish fails in the clutch. Go to the bottom of the 5th, and this will be the fatigue inning for Correa, so we'll keep an eye on that. He'll be facing Balboni, Salazar, and Owen, bottom portion of the order. Three, 6, and that's a 1-2 single, but that's going to end up being a line out to short. So there is line out number 3 in the game so far. So if we end up with 5 lineouts, I guess that's, according to what Adam is saying, that's kind of standard. So we'll see. Here's Salazar, 5-8. That's a walk. So for Correa, that is his first walk he's issued. Salazar, we're looking to get the lead. Needs a 2, 6, 7, or 8 to get the lead. A 10 or 11, and he is picked off. That's a 7, so he gets the lead on that 6 through 8, so that fits. 15 being held as a 13, but the +5 makes it an 18. 1-18 for Salazar to steal it. And he does. Stolen base for Salazar. He's in scoring position as the tying run for Larry Owen. Owen lined to short his first time up. 3-3. And that's going to be a ground ball third base A, so it's a good thing he stole the base because that avoided the double play. Again, that's another reason why you steal bases, not necessarily to get runners into scoring position, but to avoid inning-ending double plays. Now we got Willie Wilson in the clutch. And Wilson, if we look at his clutch rating, not too good. 3-8, 3-9, and 3-10 are all outs, and so is 2-8. So we got 4 different places he will lose hits. 5-6 is a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. Correa with strikeout number 4. And how about that? 5 shutout innings by Correa, and he will keep endurance into the 6th inning. Did not think we'd see a 1-0 game at this point, but that's what we've got. Danny Jackson, this is his fatigue inning, so we'll keep an eye on him. Pete O'Brien, Don Slott, and Buechele, the batters. That's a 5-5, and that's going to be a 5-5 is going to still be a strikeout. 4-5 and 5-5 and 6-5. All 5s here would have been strikeouts against lefties. So he gets the strikeout, and that is strikeout number 4 for Danny Jackson. Got O'Brien twice on that. Here's Slott. .411, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Salazar, 2E16. 2 and an 8, he'll get to that. The E16 is going to be the question. The 2 and the 8's a G2. That's a 10, so that's pretty much means he's not going to make an error. 16, the only errors are 14 and 17. So good play for Salazar. Takes care of the slow-running Slot. 2 down for Buechele. Buechele has doubled and hit into a double play. 3-12 against the lefty, and that's a home run 1-8. That's a 6. It's gone. We don't need the baby wipes because it's not clean, but it's semi-clean. Home run, look at it again. 3-12 is a home run, 1-8, and that's a 6. So Buechele, a solo home run for Steve Buechele, gives the Rangers a 2-0 lead. That is home run number 6 for Buechele on the replay. He hit 13 real world in 363 at-bats. He hits his 6th in his 136th at-bat. So it's a solo shot to make the score 2-0. And here's Kunkel. 6-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. So we're looking at Frank White. He's a 2E11. 2 and a 16 is good. E11 and an 11 for second baseman. 11 and 11. There is no error. So it's good play. But Texas gets another insurance run thanks to Steve Buechele's home run. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. 2-0 Texas now. And Correa pitching his best game of the year so far, no question about it. Here's Kevin Seitzer. 2-8, and it's a ground ball to short. Fletcher makes the play, one away. That'll bring up Danny Tartable. He's 0 for 2. 4-8, and that's going to be an in-home run chance, 1-5, but that's a 16, so he'll settle with a double. Tartable with the one-out double. And that'll bring up Thad Bosley. Designated hitter. He's 0 for 2. It's a 3-9, and that's going to be 0 for 3 as he grounds it to third with the runner having to hold. So Tartable has to stay where he's at. 2 down, clutch situation coming up for the veteran Frank White. In the clutch, Frank White will lose a hit on 3-12. Everywhere else he is neutral, so you can almost say he's pretty much neutral because 3-12 rarely comes up. It's a 4-7, and that's a walk. That'll keep the inning going. Puts the tying runs on base for Bo Nose. And now Bo in a clutch situation. And for Bo, he loses a hit on 3-10 and on 2-3. Everywhere else he's neutral. So he's got a couple of dings against him. But he's also got some ballpark blast, but that's not going to help with Royal Stadium. He does not have any clean. Oh, he's got some clean home runs in column 3, and that's it. 1-7 is going to be a big strikeout for Correa, his 5th, and that's going to end the inning. Correa is going to go 6 innings so far, and he's still got endurance to come out for the 7th. So what? I think Bobby Valentine would be crazy to take him out right now. So we go to the 7th, and there will be a 7th inning stretch break, I think. Let me check the coffee situation. I don't know. It's still pretty warm, so I did this thing now where I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds right before I come upstairs to play the game, and that helps keep it warmer a little bit longer. And this game is going along relatively smoothly, so we're closer to the 7th inning stretch earlier than normal on most of these streams. Here's Brower, 0 for 2. 1-6, now he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Danny Jackson. Back to the top of the order for Fletcher. He's 2 for 3. Scored one of the runs of the game, the first run of the game. 3-7. Split chance. 1's a single. Anything else he lines to short. So there's line out number 4 of the game. And here comes Ruben Sierra. 6-8. Switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a solid single for Ruben Sierra. See if he wants to potentially try to get a lead. He would need a 3 or a 6, 7, or 8. 3, 6, 7, or 8 to get the lead. 11, he is picked off. Ruben Sierra, the 11 is his pickoff number, and we just found it. So Danny Jackson just picked him off to end the inning. So what a way to go into the 7th inning stretch by getting your runner picked off. But we do go to the 7th inning stretch. Score still 2-0 favor of Texas. Correa back out. Greg Harris, a right-hander, is loosening in the bullpen for Texas just in case he's needed. Because you never know when Correa might implode. But since the coffee is warm, we're going to keep going right through the 7th inning stretch and keep rolling it. It'll be Balboni, Salazar, and Owen, although we are in the 7th inning, so pinch hitting is most likely going to happen, especially for Owen, you would think. So here's Balboni, 6-7. 1-4 double, 5-20 is a single. Let's move it over here so you can see a little bit better. 6-7. 1-4 is a double, 5-20 is a single. That's a 2, so it's a leadoff double for Balboni. Bye-bye Balboni with a leadoff double. That'll bring up Salazar. get a 3-9 for Salazar. It's a ground ball to third, and that's going to freeze Balboni at second base. One away, and now we'll get a pinch hitter for Larry Owen, as the Royals will go to their bench for Owen. And let's see who they've got available. Well, most likely it's going to be Jamie Quirk, because he would just come in and catch. But they also have George Order from the left side. They got Pacoda, Juan Beniquez, Hal McRae, and Buddy Biancalana. But I'm thinking Jamie Quirk. So we're going to go with Jamie Quirk to pinch hit, and he would stay in the game to catch. Pinch hits in the 7th, catches in the 8th. Jamie Minute Quirk. Let's see what he's doing on the replay. Jamie Quirk. And of course, I am using Strat-O-Matic computer to tell me who's available on the roster and whatnot. So that's how I know who's available. And that's why I have those cards pulled out. Quirk on the real season was a .236 hitter with 5 home runs. And on the replay, he's hitting .275 with no home runs in 91 at-bats. I know, Dan, I just like calling pickoffs. Jamie Quirk, 2-5. And that's going to be a ground ball to second. That will get the runner to third, but now there are 2 outs. So it's going to be up to Willie Wilson. And Wilson is 0 for 3 on the day. Facing Correa, clutch situation in the clutch for Wilson. He, like I said, loses those 3 hits right there in a row, 8, 9, and 10 in column 3, plus loses a hit on 2-8. 6-4, though, switch hitter batting left. 6-4 is a ballpark single check. It's 1 to an 11, but that's a 12. And boy, talk about missing it by that much, as Don Adams would have said. 1 to 11 is a single, but that's a 12. So it's a fly ball to left. And normally you'd have a line out to second by rule, but I like to move it around. So I'm going to keep the original result because it doesn't change the game. It doesn't change the results. So it's a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. Ed Correa, 7 shutout innings. Unbelievable. That's going to be all for Correa. They're going to cap Correa at 7 innings because he was only rated for 5. And we'll figure out what he's done on we get the computer to figure out all his totals, which were magnificent. And they will bring in Greg Harris in relief pitching. First, Jamie Quirk will be inserted as the catcher. Then we'll go to the Strat computer and get the results. For Correa, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Masterful performance by Ed Correa. Needless to say, Greg Harris, the righty, will be coming in to pitch in the 8th inning. Danny Jackson, in the meanwhile, is going to stay in the game. Check the Royal bullpen and see who they've got available. Right-handed versions of who might be available. Hello, Frank. Good to see you. So let's see who we got in the bullpen for the Royals. There's actually a player added. So this guy, I got to make a move. I didn't even see this, but Dave Gumpert is not on the roster anymore. So we will remove him. They brought up or added to the roster Rick Anderson. So I need to go to the minor leagues, which are right over here within arm's reach. Go to my Kansas City minor leagues and see if Rick Anderson is the kind of guy they might want to bring in, because he'd certainly be a fresh arm for sure. But Gumpert is sent to the minors apparently. Question is, do I have a card for Rick Anderson? That's the question. Yes, I do. So Rick Anderson is actually, he's terrible though. He's 0-2 with a 13.85 earned run average. But he's on the roster, so. But I'm not going to pitch him in a close game, so he would not be the first choice to be coming in for the Royals. We'll look at who else they have. They have Steve Farr and Quisenberry from the right-hand side, and they have Jerry Don Gleaton from the left-hand side. Not sure about Bud Black. He may or may not have a start coming up. So at least there's three guys we can go to: Quisenberry, Farr, and Gleaton. So let's see if one of these guys is overtaxed. Quisenberry's been overused quite a bit, so I'm thinking we're looking at either Gleaton or Farr. Those are the two frontline guys you would want to go to. So we'll see what the Royals want to do. If it gets to that, they may end up just letting Jackson go as long as he's effective. So we'll see. Pete Incaviglia. Jackson's going to start out the 8th inning, see what happens. Facing Pete Incaviglia. Incaviglia has struck out and walked twice. That's a 4-5. Right-handed is a fly ball center field. That's out number 1. Hauled in by Wilson. So 1 down, and that brings up Larry Parrish. .18 for Parrish, and that is a strikeout. So Danny Jackson still got some juice left in him. His 6th strikeout. He's just not getting any run support. That's his problem. And here's Pete O'Brien. Bryan 1 for 3. Lefty on lefty. The only lefty in the starting lineup. 6-7 is a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Frank White. And White is a 2E11. 2 and a 13 is good. E11 and a 10 should be no problem at all. It is not. You don't really get errors on 10s all that much. 2 and a 13 is a G1, so it's an easy play for Frank White. And Danny Jackson will go 8 innings. And with right-handers coming up, I think that's going to be it for Danny Jackson. They're going to bring in Steve Farr to pitch the 9th. Farr will be coming on to pitch the 9th. Danny Jackson's going to go 8 innings. Give up the 2 runs. Deserved a better fate, to be honest. I mean, his team just got no run support. So let's see what he did for walks. He struck out 6. I believe he walked 4. And total hits he's given up so far have been 6. So there we have that. Coming in to pitch for Texas is Greg Harris, 5-10 with a 4.86 ERA. I looked up his game logs. I believe it's either June 5th or June 6th he gets a start, and he does not relieve the rest of the year. He goes straight into the rotation for the remainder of the year. So I need to get him some relief appearances so he can match his total appearances in the league. So he needs some relief appearances. That's why he's in there, because he will eventually go to the starting rotation in a few days and won't be able to relieve anymore. So they are going to get some relief work out of him. We'll get what he's done on the replay to this point. On the replay, Harris is 0-2 with a save, 4.24 earned run average, 40 innings pitched, 40 hits, 19 walks, 32 strikeouts. He actually had a save, has a save in the replay. He had no saves in the real season. So probably having the wild thing come in and get the save in the 9th inning if its score stays the way it is. So here's Kevin Seitzer. It's going to be Seitzer, Tautabol, and Bosley due up for the Royals against Greg Harris. 210, right-handed. That's a ballpark single check. 1 to an 11. That's an 8. So Seitzer gets himself a single. Second hit of the game for Seitzer. Check the hold. He is a -1 and Slott's a +1. So his hold is a 0. So I don't think they're going to try to steal. Not down 2-0. His percentages would not be that great. So they will have to hold him on, but he's not going to steal. Here's Tautabol. 5-9, and that's a fly ball to right. Hauled in by Sierra, 1 away. Wouldn't it be something if we see a Texas Rangers shutout? That would be an anomaly for sure. Here's Bosley. He's 0 for 3. 1-6. 1 to 12 is a single. That's a 20 though. So here's your line out number 5. So we hit the 5 line out total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 line outs. 2 away for Frank White. Frank White, the batter. White is 0 for 2. 4-8, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fletcher. He's a 3E26. 3-19 is good. Shortstop E26 and an 8. E26, there is no 8 there, so Fletcher will make the play. And Greg Harris pitches a perfect ninth, not a perfect ninth inning, but a scoreless ninth inning, or eighth inning, I should say. We go to the ninth, still 2-0. And that'll be all for Greg Harris. He's going to go 1 inning, give up a hit, nothing else. And the wild thing, Mitch Williams will come in and pitch the 9th inning. He needs some work because they haven't been ahead in a while, so he definitely could use the work, no question about it. Steve Farr, your pitcher for the Royals, he will make his way in. Steve bridge too far. Farr on the season was 4-3. Let's bring him on the computer so I can get his full numbers here. For Steve Farr. So in the real season, he was 4-3 with 1 save and a 4.15 earned run average. On the replay, he's 2-1 with 5 saves, 4.05 earned run average, 26 innings pitched, 25 hits, 21 walks, and 27 strikeouts. So it'll be Slot, Buechele, and Kunkel due up. Although I think they're going to pinch hit for Kunkel now that the righty's in the game. Looks like we might have Jerry Brown pinch hit and stay in the game to play second base. So it would make the most sense. Or either Curtis Wilkerson. They're actually going to give Curtis Wilkerson. They're going to pinch hit with Curtis Wilkerson. Try to give Jerry Brown his day off. So Wilkerson will pinch hit for Kunkel here in the 9th. Stay in the game to play second base in the 9th. That's when we get the Kunkel spot. But first, it's going to be Slot, Buechele, and then Kurt Wilkerson. So Slot is your leadoff batter against Steve Farr. 2-0 Texas, top of the 9th. Get a 1-7, and that's a strikeout. So Farr gets the strikeout of Slot. 1 away. For Steve Buechele, who homered back in the 6th, he's also doubled. So not for Correa's great pitching performance, he'd be the player of the game candidate. 4-4 is a ground ball to second. Frank White is there. 2 away. And that will send up the pinch hitter Wilkerson. So we've got to bring him in on the computer to get Kunkel out of there. Go to a better defender and a better hitter. So Kurt Wilkerson on the replay. I'm sorry, on the season, real season. He hit 268 with 2 home runs and 138 at bats. On the replay, in just 28 at bats, he's hitting 250, a homer, and 2 driven in. So obviously, he can use some at bats, and here we get him right here. Switch hitter, batting left, 4-7. That's a 1-10 single, but that's an 11. So here we go, another line out. Line out number 6 right there. Broke the barrier there with the 6th line out of the game. A line out to second base. And we go to the bottom of the 9th. The score is still 2-0 Texas. And the wild thing, Mitch Williams will be coming on to try to save the game for the Rangers. And going in to play second base, obviously, is Wilkerson. Oddibe McDowell will also come in and play center field. And I believe Brower will move to left and Incaviglia will leave the game. So McDowell will come in and play center field, hit in Incaviglia's third spot, and Brower will move from center field to left field, with Wilkerson taking second base and Mitch Williams coming into the game. All right, so let's put this to work here. So Incaviglia is out of there, and we're going to have a new center fielder in McDowell. O-to-B McDowell plays center field in the ninth. Brower will move to left field. But if it goes extra innings, McDowell hits in this third spot. So Mitch Williams on the season was 8-6, 3.23 ERA and saves. On the replays, 0-3 with 7 saves, but an ERA of 7.88. 16 innings pitched, 14 hits, 18 walks, and 25 strikeouts. So the walks have definitely been his bugaboo. And he's going to be facing Bo Jackson, Balboni, and Salazar, your scheduled hitters. Believe Hal McRae has picked up a bat and might hit for Salazar here. But we got Jackson and Balboni starting things off against Mitch Williams. 5-8, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fletcher, a 3.E26. 3 and a 9 should be okay. 3 and a 9 is a G3. And that's a 10. You don't usually get many errors on 10s. E26, there's no 10 there. So good play for Fletcher. And they retire Bo. 1 away, and that will bring up Balboni. Now, do you pinch hit for Balboni? He did double his last time up, so I think you're going to, especially against a lefty, I think you're going to leave him in there. So Balboni, 1-6, and he strikes out. 2 down, and now we'll get a pinch hitter for Salazar. Although McRae, actually, we're not going to use McRae because he's over his usage. I've used him way too much. So we're going to use Juan Beniquez instead. So Juan Beniquez will pinch hit for Salazar. If it goes extra innings, Buddy Biancalana would play shortstop. But right now we're going to use Juan Beniquez. See if he can keep the game going for Kansas City. Beniquez on the real season hit .251 with 8 home runs in 255 at-bats. Let's see what he's done on the replay. Could use Bakota as well, but they're going to go with Beniquez. Beniquez on the replay is hitting .252, 4 homers, 22 driven in. So he hit .251 real world. On the replay is hitting .252. All right, so here is Beniquez. 3-4 for Beniquez. Split chance. 1-2 is a single. That's a 6. He's gonna, and there we go. The game ends appropriately enough on another line out. That is line out number 7 on the game. So we had 7 line outs in this game. And the Rangers unbelievably win it with a shutout. Talk about the unbelievableness of this particular ball game. To win it with a shutout. Ed Correa lowers his ERA to 5.04 with 7 innings of shutout ball. Mitch Williams gets his 8th save of the season. As he goes 1 inning, gives up nothing with a strikeout. So a 5-hit shutout tossed at the Royals by the Texas Rangers. Rangers get 2-6-1. Steve Farr in his 1 inning gave up nothing with a strikeout. So there you are. The month of May is now in the books on this AL replay. And we will go into the weekend with a new month coming up on Monday. Now, either this afternoon, but most likely Saturday, will be the National League game from May 31st. It's Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Ted Power against Doug Drabeck. And then over the weekend, probably maybe I might do it later today, or it might be tomorrow, if I can remember how to do OBS. I'll do a short video showing all the stats for all the teams, and the standings, the stats, the league leaders, all that kind of stuff. Kind of put a bow on the month of May and get you set for the month of June. With Texas winning, they're now 20-26. So as we go to the standings, that loss hurt Kansas City. Kansas City now falls back into a tie with the White Sox, who lost to Boston. So they're both 24-22. They're both 2 games back of the Oakland A's, who are 27-21. So as we head to the month of June, Oakland is in first place by 2 games over Kansas City and Chicago, and by 4.5 games over Minnesota and California, and by 5.5 games over Texas. Seattle way back at 10.5. Milwaukee and the Yankees are in a virtual tie for first place. In the East, Toronto's a game back. Detroit's 5 games back. Cleveland, Baltimore, and Boston all double-digit games back. So they're kind of irrelevant at this point. So game is in the books. We're all done. And according to Strat-O-Matic computer, I should say, I am off on my number of games, because I've got 330 here, but the computer says I played 335 games. So I don't know where the disconnect was there. I lost my track of my count or something. I don't know. But the computer says I played 335 games so far. And oddly enough, I'm looking at the computer. The home teams are 169 wins and 166 losses. So it really doesn't matter if you're home or road. The home team has a winning percentage of .504. So it's pretty much, I mean, there is no home field advantage built into the game other than last at bat. I don't know if there's a way to home brew a home field advantage. Some games do have home field advantages, which I really like. Strat never figured out how to do that, or never cared to do it, one or the other. I don't know exactly how you would do it in Strat, what you would alter, but either way you go. So there you have it. Let's count up. Let's circle the lineouts. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 lineouts. There you go. You said 5 was the average, and 6 lineouts. There you go. Hello, midlife. Yeah, well, it's not going to simulate that, I don't believe. I mean, let me look at Minnesota's individual record, but I don't believe that's going to be reflected in Strat, because it just doesn't give home field advantages. Now, one thing you can do is maybe the way their ballpark is, maybe their team is built that way, so maybe that does something. I don't know. Let's take a look here and see what they're doing. So Minnesota, where is it? Their home record is 13-14. Their road record is 10-12. So only a 2.5 game difference there with their record. Their problem is they're really good against lefty starters. They're 11-7 against lefty starters, 12-19 against righty starters. So for whatever reason, I guess because their lineup is heavy right-handed hitting, when you got Puckett and you got Gaetti and you got Bernansky and all those guys, the only big lefty they have is Herbeck. Everybody else basically is right-handed. That's the power hitter. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but that's just an example. Look at somebody like let's look at somebody like Kansas City, just finished here. Kansas City 12-12 at home, 12-10 on the road. Go figure. Let's look at somebody like Boston. You would think Boston would play to their stadium. Boston actually has a better road record than they have a home record. Their home record is 8-15. Their road record is 10-16. Go figure. Let's see here. And Boston's really bad. They're 4-10 against lefty starters, so they're really, really bad. Look at the Yankees. Yankees home record is 14-7, road record 18-10. So not too bad there either way. But I don't see a lot of, things that don't seem to. Now, one of them that did, here's one that's really bad, the White Sox. This is really distinct. For whatever reason, the White Sox are 16-9 at home and 8-13 on the road. 640 winning percentage at home, 381 winning percentage on the road. That's kind of weird, but that's just the way it is. It's just the way the games turn out. And it could be a result of who they're playing at home. Maybe they're playing tougher teams at home than they did on the road. I don't know. Or on the road than they did at home. I don't know. Toronto, let's look at Toronto real quick. Toronto, same way. Toronto, 11-10 at home, but 19-7 on the road. Go figure that. 731 percentage on the road, only a 524 winning percentage at home. So they're road warriors for sure. And I'll do all this on the video. I'll kind of go through all this in more detail on the video. I'm just kind of doing a snapshot here just to take a look. Now, Milwaukee, on the other hand, they're exactly the same. They're 14-7 at home, 16-8 on the road. Both of them 667 percentages for winning. So pretty much the same there. Look at the last place Mariners at the Kingdom. They're 10-17 at home and 7-15 on the road. They're bad either way you go. However, they are 7-7 against lefty starters, only 10-25 against righty starters. So again, that tells you that you've got some powerful right-handed hitters in that lineup with Jim Presley, Phil Bradley, and guys like that. That maybe where righties give them more troubles than lefties. I don't know. But anyway, just a quick overview there. And again, either this afternoon or tomorrow, I'm not sure when it's going to be. It'll be this National League game of the day for May 31st. It'll be Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. Pittsburgh comes in 22-23 on the simulated season. They are 9 games behind the Cardinals. Cincinnati 24-24. They are 5.5 games back of Houston. And they're 1 game ahead of San Francisco, who won the West at 23-25. So anyway, that's that. Hope you all enjoyed this American League broadcast for this May 31st date. I've already got since it's a new month, I've already got the next game in line to play, and I've already got the score sheet filled out, and I went ahead and did it on the computer just since it's a new month of June. Next game on Monday will be the Angels and the Yankees from Yankee Stadium. Mike Witt against Charles Hudson. And then the game following that, actually the game before that will be Seattle and Toronto. So that'll be the game on Monday. Seattle and Toronto, game number 335. Seattle and Toronto, although I think it's 336 now because of what I'm looking at on my screen, so I might have to edit this. So I might do the Yankees first. I haven't decided yet. Bankhead against Johnson, Seattle against Toronto. Those are the first 2 games next week in the American League replay. And then the third game on Wednesday will be Minnesota. I haven't filled in the stuff yet, but it's going to be Minnesota against Boston, and it's a good pitching matchup. Frank Viola against Roger Clemens at Fenway Park. Those are the first 3 games for next week. National League game for next week I haven't picked yet, so I got to figure that out. So anyway, thank you all for keeping me company on this Friday morning. I got some stuff I need to get done so I can have all my honey-do list done before I go to the football game tonight and get that out of the way. And like I said, if I have time, I'll play the game this afternoon on the National League set. If not, I'll do it Saturday at noon, one or the other. That's going to do it from here. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road. Have a good weekend, everybody.